Right.
Here's the other thing too, and this lends itself directly to the state of black consciousness. The black consciousness is at a crossroads because we have allowed information to replace organization. We got all the knowledge. We got all the information. But you can't name me a single city in America where black folks own, in the same space and time, a hospital, a supermarket, a bank, and a school. Those are the four essential institutions of a community. I can show you scores of Chinese communities, scores of Arab communities, scores of East Indies that have all four in the same place. I can't give you one. So what good is all this consciousness if there's no organization and infrastructure building? My biggest problem with the black conscious community, and I can say this, given the fact that I'm probably the most celebrated of them all, clearly the most requested to speak around the world of them all, there's too much preaching going on.
And you know what I think?
And not enough activism. But here's the point I wanted to make.
Activism.
Many personalities, and I don't say scholars because most of them are not formally trained scholars. They're personalities, and there's nothing wrong with that because everybody can teach. They have made a living castigating the church. They have made a living castigating the preacher for talking without doing. And guess what we're doing? The black conscious community is the church. It is the new mega church. We have our own T.D. Jakes. We have our own Creflo Dollar. We have them all. And just like the church, a lot of youth don't want to be bothered because they can see that you don't have no solutions or opportunities. If I go to the church, the pastor wants to keep telling me how great it's going to be after I die. I go to the conscious community, y'all keep telling me how great I was before I was born, 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. Well, I don't live in ancient Egypt, and I'm not waiting until I die. I need a job now. I need clothes now. I need an education now. And neither the church or the black conscious community has any answers for our young people. And that's my motivation with my work, is to try to deliver some of those answers for them. And one of the biggest problems I have with the not-for-profit organizations and the churches is I'm so tired of them saying that the reason we're not helping the youth is because we can't find funding. Hold on. Did Harriet Tubman need funding for the Underground Railroad? Did Ida B. Wells need funding?
No.
Name a great leader of ours who said, I want to help, but until I get a grant, I'm not going to move. But that just speaks to how selfish and lazy and dollar-driven we have become as a people. But what's sick about what y'all dealing with, it's not like we're living in a second, third world nation.
No, it's not.
Black people are the richest group of black people on the earth. There's no country of Africans on this planet that generates more revenue than we do. We're almost $2 trillion people here.
Absolutely.
Last year we spent $2 billion on Nikes, $4 billion on alcohol, $600 million on McDonald's, $9 billion on weave and pearl. And I agree with that, but there's another part to that. When you study our behavior since slavery, and not just black people, study any oppressed people. When people cannot enjoy true freedom, justice, and equality, they like to surround themselves with the symbols of it.
Okay.
The reason why black people, last year, black people bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white people. In 2016, now mind you, we have less than a third of the wealth of white America. But we bought twice the Mercedes as white people.
Okay.
You see? That's because the Mercedes-Benz is a status symbol.
Yes.
And when I cannot enjoy true freedom and equality, at least I can surround myself with the symbols of it to take away the pain that I may never get in.
Exactly.
And we as a people are knee-deep in this illusion of inclusion.
That's what I meant by what's embedded, what's been embedded in us.
I mean, just,
you know what I mean?
Just observing what happened with recently down here with Hurricane Irma, and you had dudes looting for tennis shoes.
Yeah, they broke in the Foot Locker first.
Broken Foot Locker.
All of the hurricane really hit.
Just bust the window out and go get some joy.
It was crazy.
But you know what's going on there. Remember in the 80s we had an epidemic where brothers was killing each other for the Air Jordan sneaks, even now. You know why? Because them sneakers more important than my life.
90s.
My life is nothing without those sneakers. I have no knowledge of self, no confidence, no self-esteem, no concept. The only way I can feel good is to put them on my feet, and I will kill to get some.
Kill or rob. There was nothing to go down.
You can see them, they put their Jordans on it like they walk. It's no mirror around, but they definitely walk looking at themselves.
They all get made. And they all and you paying for the logo. You're not paying for the quality of the sneakers.
People say, why do white folk
And Jordan is a black man.
Jordan is a black man, but Nike is a white corporation.
Oh,
Okay. But they'll say white people, when they get rich, why they don't have to flaunt it? When black people get rich, they got to flaunt it because when you used to having power,
When you come from not having,
getting a little bit more of it don't mean
I
nothing.
mean that.
But when you ain't used to
Never
having it
had
at
nothing.
all, you don't know how to handle
You
it.
gotta,
And that's why you buy 20 cars,
you gotta take a deep breath.
But
20
then we want to
mansions.
show off on our friends like, oh yeah, she ain't got the Gucci bag I
Why?
got.
Why
Oh,
do you
she,
only
oh, I
want to
got the
show
new
off?
bag.
It's crazy though.
Why?
You know why?
To each other. Why
Because
we
what
outdo
you
each
have
other?
don't impress a single white person.
Ah.
The only person, you can't brag to Chinese. They made it.
Yeah.
You can't brag to the Jews. They sold it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't brag to the East Indians. They shipped it out. The only people black people can brag to about their little trinkets is other black folks.
Other black
And
folks.
it's crazy, like, yo, sometimes you don't even brag to, like, your friends. You brag to people that you don't like. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and they don't give a damn about you. You feel
Well,
what I'm
what
saying?
did Will Smith say?
You know what I mean?
And I'm not a big fan of Will Smith. Unless he write that check for my Philadelphia brother, but, whose mother was the secretary at my middle school in West Philly. But
Awesome.
Will Smith said, black people spend too much money. They do not have.
Yep.
Buying things they do not need to impress people they don't even like.
Facts.
Oh.
Ain't that us?
That's
We
right.
will go into debt to outdo the next black person.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even give a
But
damn.
but
They don't
you're
And the
born-
middle class blacks ain't doing too much better than the poverty blacks. Let's be clear.
No,
the
absolutely.
average middle class black, because they keeping up with the Joneses,
Yeah.
which means
Living
they're
above their
participating
means.
in a higher standard of living, they, just like their brothers on the corner,
Corn.
are only 2 paychecks away from poverty.
paychecks.
The average middle class black person with a PhD, if they lost their job tomorrow, in 30 days they would be broke because they're living this standard because they have to exceed all other black folks. Everybody wants to be the HNIC. Materialistically, economically, politically, and socially. We strive for that. It is the ego of the Negro that needs to die a painful death.
But that's a scared ego. Definitely ego driven into their own self.
Well, they're trying to relive their
They're
life
trying
as
to
a child.
live their life to the
And as a result of that, they're destroying
they're
self-esteem
destroying them.
and causing trauma. I've seen kids traumatized by their coaches.
You know what I mean?
I told parents, you better scrutinize and interview them coaches really well.
You know what I mean? Like for me, I have parent meetings before we come out. I let them know who I am.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Most coaches don't.
No, I check the record. You know what I'm saying? You know, they done heard it before we ask anything about me, good or bad. It may be true.
But I'm going to challenge all coaches. There's all coaches of every sport.
Absolutely, every sport.
In addition to them participating in an athletic sport, we got to get to a point where we require them off season that you also going to be in a chess club, or you also going to be in a robotics club.
You on track,
We-
brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are.
No, listen,
This guy is on track.
My whole thing to come to meet you was just, you know what I mean? I loved it that when they booked this.
Another level
You know
of
what I'm saying?
education he walks with, and like
that's
when
the
they're
whole
done with
thing.
football, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of when their job's done as coaching, you're by yourself until I see you next.
A lot of
season.
coaches.
Right.
they
I
gone.
give him credit
Right.
where
Yes,
he
yes,
keeps up with
yes.
them.
I keep up
How's
with
your
him.
grades going? There's no
Stop by
reason
the
why
house.
you're in 5th grade. You should be reading at the 2nd grade level.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
help you.
That's
This
right.
man stays on point on that thing. So like I said, I
That's
applaud
right.
him on that.
What are some of the things that you've seen going around the country, around the world, that you're probably taking to implement, much like what Big is talking about with his efforts?
Well, with the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, because that concept has already been so thoroughly flushed out in my mind, I'm really not at a place where I need to find other resources, since that's an expertise area for me. Where we at right now, I actually came here from Detroit. Okay. I've been in Detroit twice this month because they have a lot of schools available. So I've been school shopping.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
And they finna close down some more.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Let us be clear about something. The propaganda is not the truth. In Detroit and in Chicago, they say, well, we shut down 300 schools. We got all these schools. But guess what? When I came, because I've been there, to look at the good schools, they don't show them to you. The list of schools they gave me in Detroit was the worst conditioned schools in the city. They took me to the Malcolm X Academy. The water was up to my knees. They took me to a school with a roof off, another school with a back is off. It's not even a school no more.
Yeah.
But then over here, you got a brand new school building shut down. I want to see that. That's not on the list. Why is it not on the list? We're not at liberty to say. But wait a minute. If it's available, why can't I see it and buy that? You showing me this with the roof and the back out like it was in World War II. So It's propaganda that they have all these available properties.
Yeah.
They're redlining them, and they're only letting Arabs and white folks buy them up in Detroit. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because the whole purpose of them impoverishing the real estate in Detroit and Chicago is to let white people come in and buy it by the pennies. Gentrification. And then raise the property value back up. So here's the thinking. How the hell are we going to let Dr. Umar Johnson come into the middle of Chicago, Detroit, open up that damn school? If we do that, the black people ain't leaving. So they're giving me the scraps because they know if they give me something that's halfway decent, black folk ain't going to leave because they're going to want their kids to go to my school. So in order to perfect the gentrification movement, they can't let me get a school in the inner city.
So that's the whole
When I was in,
business of
you know who
our
I'm looking
community.
at? I'm looking at Catholic schools in Detroit, and private schools.
They nice.
Ain't even don't need to look at the public ones because they're not showing me the good ones. They're only giving me garbage. Yes.
Have you reached out to Jalen Rose? Because I know he opened up a charter.
He has a charter school. I don't want no charter school.
Okay.
It's totally different with
It's
the
totally
charter.
different. That's government.
That's government,
Right.
yeah.
You can't do your own thing there. That's government.
That's government.
And for people like Jalen Rose and Puff Daddy, and I respect them both, if I had a conversation, I would have to ask them. You're a
Alonzo Mourning with
multi-millionaire.
that too.
Why would you want to
You're a what the hell you want a charter school for? That's like me being filthy rich and getting a welfare check.
No, absolutely.
You understand what I'm
Absolutely.
Sean Puffy Combs?
Yeah,
A charter school?
Yeah.
Negro, why you looking for government subsidy? You should have the Sean Puffy Combs School for Performing Arts, and that school should have such a big endowment that it will go on into the end of time, brother. What you doing with charter schools are owned by the state. They can shut you down whenever they feel like
Cut your
it.
budget.
Yes.
Add to it.
I don't think the average person knows that though.
No, a lot of
They
people don't know
don't.
that. No, they don't.
So you
Just
just
like
said
a
that. I
public
didn't know
school.
that. Like I thought they were doing something. And they said, "Oh, they got a charter school." And it seems like, especially in a bad neighborhood,
Right, no,
they're
right.
trying to make a change. No
That's
idea until you
state
broke
property.
that
No,
down.
that state, that, yeah.
Charter school is a public school by law. A charter school is an alternative public school. That's why they got to have special education. That's why they take the state testing. The only thing you're allowed to do is you're given the freedom to recreate the curriculum, your operational program, to hire who you think will be best. You're given those type of freedoms. But when it comes down to financial accountability,
And overall-
test scores, special ed, and making sure you got enough white folks in there,
Wow.
you ain't got no freedom.
Ain't got-
I'm going to go back to my third principle of Pan-Africanism, and I said self-determination in all things. What is to be done for black people must be done by black people. That would apply to this reality. Why are we letting white people tell
Dictate.
us
Yeah.
how to
What
raise
to
our
do.
children?
Woo!
Let me give you a real life story. There was a father. The son disrespected his mother. Father kicked his behind. Son was taught in school that if your parents hit you, pick up the phone and call 911. Y'all know this is what the teachers tell
Yeah,
them.
tell them,
yeah.
They tell them to pick up the
No,
phone and call
down here it's
911.
511.
I don't
Something
know.
like that.
Well, whatever
They got,
that
yeah,
is.
they got
Yeah.
a special number. It's
The police
511.
came
Yeah.
to the house.
Oh man, it sounds like me and
Father
my son.
came to the door, said, "What's up?" Police said, "We got a phone call from your son that you put his hands on." I did.
Yeah, I
Called
did.
his son to the door. There you go. And the police said,
Check.
"You can't put your hands on your son." I said, "Let me." And his father said, "Let me tell you something. This is my son. More importantly, this is my house." He disrespected his mother, and I've kicked off in his behind. And if he do it again, I'll do it again. If y'all want to take him, take him. But here, I make the rules. Then he told his son, "If you go with them police, do not come back." Son went upstairs. Police said, "Have a nice day." My point is,
That was dope.
white folk only gonna do what you let them do.
Yeah.
If you let them feel they can tell you what to do, they
Yeah.
will. It's no different than special ed and ADHD. I got parents who say, "Well, they put my son on medicine."
You let him.
You let them.
Yeah.
They put my son. They put my son in special ed. You listen. I cannot evaluate nobody's child. There's not a psychologist in America that can take your child and evaluate them and test them and give them a label unless you sign that paperwork. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you still control it, but we so intimidated by white power.
And that's why I think is a lot of people are like want to do exactly what it is, like how my parents, but they're
white
scared
folks.
because they know that that phone call can get real. And now you're in a situation where it's like all you were doing was making sure that the kid didn't get in trouble. But now you have police knocking on your door, or they go to school. What's that?
Right.
On
But
your
if you
arm,
never
what's
go
it?
along with it, they can never get you. Most parents who get their children taken from them for medical neglect, that's what they call it when you don't give your children the ADHD meds. They take them out the house, medical neglect. Guess what? You hardly ever see a parent get charged with medical neglect who never got their kid tested in the first place. You follow me? It's only after you get that label, now they can force you.
They can
So
force
I tell parents, why you get the label in the first place? Well, they said they just wanted to see. See what? If you didn't think nothing was wrong with your child, what you going along for?
And you say
Yeah,
You said they want that check too, right?
My pops was the same way. Like they're like,
Not to pick on women, but ADHD and special ed is 97% female driven. The average ADHD boy was diagnosed off a complaint from a white teacher and a complaint from a black mother. Period. There's no men in that
sit
process.
down. You won't be quiet.
Women run ADHD.
Yeah.
And if we had more male
No
teachers,
offense.
there would be no ADHD.
I remember
Y'all
you
damn
said
fault.
something about ain't no daddy at home. That's
That's what it is. ADHD. Ain't no daddy at home. That's all it is.
Yeah, this
Ain't got no daddies at
No,
home.
no, absolutely.
You don't
I
get
believe that.
ADD till 1980 now.
Yeah.
You get ADHD 1987.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Look at the timing. You don't even get these labels until they start mass incarcerating black males. That's all it is the result of.
All of
And the
it.
sad thing is you give the boys the same drugs that sent the daddy to jail.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
son taking Ritalin.
You shall agree.
Ritalin is synthesized crack.
Yeah.
Concert is
Oh,
synthesized crack.
That's all it is.
So I'm doing 10 years for
You got
selling it, and you
synthesized
gonna give it
whole
to my
rock,
son?
Yeah.
Willingly.
Well, you know, if America can't tax it, it's illegal.
Oh yes.
If he can't say, I can say I'm gonna get his cut.
Yes.
You
And
wrong.
white science doesn't believe in
Don't believe
anything that it cannot touch, see,
See,
feel, exploit, or sell.
exists.
That's why they don't believe in a soul. They don't believe in anything that you cannot exploit. If we cannot sell it, it don't
It
exist.
does.
Yeah, because a lot of
That's so
people,
true, man.